for a true prophet is to see the people heeding the prophecy,
Yes.
and avoiding the prophesied danger.
Oh, yes.
The prophecy warns of coming danger. Those who listen will be saved. And everything that I have said now, we don't have time. You may want to go and read Ezekiel 33. This is where it is. The man of God is a watchman.
Yes.
When he prophesies his warning,
Yes.
he finds more joy when the people listen to his warning
Yes.
and avoid the danger.
Yes.
Notwithstanding that is prophecy, then will not come to pass.
Yes.
But the question is, will you not then call him a false prophet if what he said is going to happen, it does not happen? Because you have actually heeded his warning.
Yes.
Yes.
But these are the prophetic insights that the Lord gave to me. Some time ago, I gave an indication that the Lord spoke to me about Tanzania. And I said I was desisting. I was told to not speak about what I saw concerning the late Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli and how he died during the COVID era. And I had committed to talk about the Islamic religion, which I would do. I will do so. I haven't been given clearance to do so. I've got all the materials to talk about Islam. I've hinted so many times about it, but I will come with a special service to warn Africa about the corrosive nature of the Islamic religion. So I was given an insight, and I wish to share this with you. There is a conspiracy in high places. There is a conspiracy in high places to Islamicize Africa as a continent. Because I am not a historian, I am a man of God. I would have spent probably an hour or two talking to you about how Africa is already divided and was divided many centuries ago by Islam. Those who study history will tell you that North Africa was not populated by Muslims at the beginning of the human settlements. Places like Nigeria, Somalia, Morocco, Mauritius, places like Niger, Central African Republic, Burkina Faso, Mali, which are now Islamic nations today. Not officially, but they are becoming Islamic nations. They were not populated by people who subscribed to the Islam or Islamic religion. Those who study history will tell you that let me give you a short orientation. I want to talk about Malcolm X, and I want to talk about Louis Farrakhan. You know these names? This Louis Farrakhan, you can Google him. He speaks so much about black consciousness and a little bit of Pan-Africanism. He's an African American. And he took over from Malcolm X. What people do not understand is that these Muslim theologians and activists like Louis Farrakhan sound so much like they have a pro-African ideology that seeks to awaken Africa to its full potential and resist bullying by Europe and America. But deep inside Islam, which Louis Farrakhan is a subject to, you realize that in the 6th century, where Prophet Muhammad was alive, he lived in the 6th, 7th century. He is the one who pioneered black slavery. The Americans and the Europeans are not the pioneers of slave trade. Slave trade was started by Islam. Muslims are the first people to buy Africans as commodities. And so I find it highly disingenuous that a Muslim preacher like Louis Farrakhan is the man who is regarded as a highly esteemed statesman and Pan-Africanist and black consciousness activist to awaken Africans in America to demand reparations for the slave trade that they went through for almost 400 years in the United States of America. I find it hypocritical and disingenuous. Slave trade that Europe and America practiced against Africa, they learned it from Islam. So Islam is not a messianic religion to the black people. And I don't know if you know that the great boxer Muhammad Ali is not his true name.
No, it's not.
Muhammad Ali was so brainwashed by Islam that he abandoned his own name and he took an Arabic name to identify with Islam.
His name is Cassius Clay.
Yes. Thank you, Pastor, for sharing with us Muhammad Ali's name. So even Malcolm X, he changed his name. All these black activists who are in Islam, the moment they become prominent in their activism, they choose to take an Arabic name to spite those who are against the Islamic ideologies. If you are a Muslim and you are a black and African, you can't talk to me about the evil and wicked practices of America and Europe in the slave trade era, because the founder of Islam was the man who hated Africans the most, to the extent that Muhammad described Africans as devils. He said the devil is black in color. That's what Muhammad said. And this is not a lie. This is not a formulation of my mind. Dig it deep. I'm going to do a program to expose Islam very soon. And so Islam has no place to talk about the liberation of Africa when they are the first ones to conquer Africa. Now the Arabs which are in North Africa started to declare that they don't feel African. But did you know that Egypt was not a Muslim nation not so long ago? Egypt worshipped its own African gods. The Ras, the Osiris, the Omans. Those are the Egyptian gods and many of them. When did Egypt become a Muslim nation? This is a brief history that so many of our black Africans who are joining Islam are not sure of. Islam does not see Africans as equal with the Arabs. This is a deep-rooted racism inside Islam, which they don't share in the public. But Africans which work in Saudi Arabia, Africans which work in United Arab Emirates, Africans which work in Qatar, they can tell you the Arabs are equally very racist, just like the Americans, if not worse. They don't see us as equal human beings. As I speak to you now, our sisters from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Malawi, they are treated as sex slaves in certain parts of the Arabic world. But these things are hidden under the carpet. But they are very known, believe me, they are very known. This one aside, I want to go to my prophecy. It is connected to the Islamicization of Africa. Africa has to wake up because in high places of the Arab nation, the Islam nation, they have a conquest in mind. They want the whole world to be dominated by the Islamic religion. And they are taking one African nation at a time. As I speak to you now, they are targeting 3 nations in the next 2 years. They are targeting Kenya, which is already heavily populated by Islamicized black Africans. They are targeting Mozambique. They are targeting Malawi. There are Muslim people in all these countries, but they want to make it an Islamic state. They want the structures of government to be held by bona fide Islamic stalwarts. So you understand that there's a difference between a nation with Muslims and an Islamic state. If you want to understand an Islamic state, go and study Afghanistan, where they say Sharia is supreme to the constitution of the land. So their law is based on Sharia. The parliament does not pass any law that is against Sharia law. That is where they are going. If you want to understand the wickedness of Islam, go and study how women are living in Afghanistan today. They are not allowed to go to school. In Afghanistan, a woman is not allowed to visit a supermarket without the company of a man. A 40-year-old woman needs to go with a 3-year-old boy for that journey to be sanctioned by the state. That's Sharia law. Because of business endeavors and business strategies, Arabic countries like the United Arab Emirates, they have not adopted the Sharia law completely. And that's why they are now described as liberated Islamic states. They are now liberal. They are described as liberal Islamic states, where they talk about Sharia, but they don't practice it to the letter. And this is why women are allowed to drive. Women are allowed to fly alone. In Saudi Arabia, a woman, in Afghanistan, a woman cannot go to the airport and produce a passport alone and say, I am flying to Zimbabwe. She'll be arrested. She needs to be in the company of a man. She needs a letter from her husband that I have allowed my wife to fly. It was a few years ago that women were allowed to apply for a driver's license in Saudi Arabia. Less than 10 years ago. All these decades, women could not drive in Saudi Arabia. That's Islam for you. So, the same is happening in Tanzania. They want to make Tanzania the first East African nation to be fully Islamicized.